ओंटारियो के साबका प्रीमियर विलियम डेविस का ब्रैम्पटन विच देहांत हो गया। वह 97 साल के सन। परिवार वालों जारी की गई रिलीज़ विच यह जानकारी दी गई। डेविस ओंटारियो के 18वें प्रीमियर सन। रिलीज़ विच दस्सिया गया कि उन्होंने आखिरी साह अपने जार्जियन बे वाले घर विच लई। उन्हां दी मौत कुदरती हुई ते आखिरी समय परिवारिक मैंबर उन्हां दे कोल सन।
I want to thank all of you for coming. I'm not sure why you're here.
He was the Premier of Ontario on my first day of kindergarten, and he was the Premier of Ontario on my first day of university. So he was a huge figure in my own life and politically. But I think his masterful political strategy, he was a masterful political strategist because he wasn't in your grill, he wasn't in your face, but he was always behind the scenes making sure that he got what he wanted, even in minority parliaments. And he had 6 years of minority government at Queen's Park, which is no easy trick to navigate. He managed to work very closely with the New Democrats of Stephen Lewis at the time. So that's why Ontario had a lot of progressive things like rent control that came in because of him. The killing of the Spadina Expressway in 1971, when he first became Conservative leader, was arguably a thing that saved the downtown core of Toronto. The annex and other neighborhoods wouldn't exist to this day if it wasn't for him stopping for that expressway. So that he was a progressive in that sense. So he could have Jane Jacobs on the one hand hailing him for doing things like that, and then the other hand you could have people on Bay Street saying, you know, good for you for you know, keeping Ontario open for business, so to speak. But he was a red Tory in the classic sense of that, Jennifer. He was as well regarded by the Liberals at Queen's Park, in whether it was David Peterson or Dalton McGuinty or Kathleen Wynne, as he is by progressive Conservatives like Doug Ford or Tim Hudak before him, or Mike Harris or Ernie Eves. It's an interesting that he was able to straddle the center, and he was a master at being moderate. So his famous quip about bland works, he was right. He didn't offend anyone, but that didn't mean that he was anyone's patsy either. Yeah, I mean, he was probably the most important education minister that Ontario's ever had, back when the education minister handled colleges, universities, and public schools. And so under Premier Robarts, he expedited and the development of the community college system.
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਨੇ ਜੂਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਭਿਆਨਕ ਗਰਮੀ ਅਤੇ ਜੰਗਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਅੱਗ ਲੱਗਣ ਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਾਹਮਣਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ। ਹੁਣ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਕਈ ਹਿੱਸੇ ਸੋਕੇ ਦਾ ਸਾਹਮਣਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ। ਇਸ ਨਾਲ ਕਈ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਾਂ ਤੇ ਰੋਜ਼ੀ ਰੋਟੀ ਦਾ ਸੰਕਟ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। ਗਾਵਾਂ ਲਈ ਚਾਰੇ ਦੀ ਕਮੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਹੈ। ਕਿਸਾਨ ਪਸ਼ੂ ਵੇਚਣ ਲਈ ਮਜਬੂਰ ਹਨ। ਉਹ ਸੈਂਕੜੇ ਦੀ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਗਾਵਾਂ ਬਲਦਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਬਾਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ ਤਾਂ ਜੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਚ ਕੇ ਆਰਥਿਕ ਸੰਕਟ ਕੁਝ ਦੂਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕੇ।
We've got sheep, goats, llamas, horses, tons of fowl, pigs, you name it, and they all need to be relocated. I don't know whose goats these are. The last 2 weeks has been nonstop. I think we worked till 11 o'clock at night, at least last night, and then 6:30 this morning, so it's been busy.
She was very, very nervous. And you can see it in the other horses, the white horse over there. She's just running all day yesterday.
They can smell the smoke, so even swollen eyes that they're going through. It's hard on everybody, and including the animals for sure. Shh, 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 shh. It's okay. You're going to. Yeah. I need your butt up. There we go. Thank you.
Nervous. I'm just worried that we're going to have to move them again. Sorry.
It was a pleasure to wake up to a little bit of rain on the ground this morning. The smoke has cleared somewhat, though I understand it has been pushed eastward a little bit there. Over the weekend, we will continue to have some cooler temperatures across the province and a little bit of rain, which will offer some reprieve, though I can't stress enough how dry the conditions are in the southern half of the province, in particular the central interior and the southeast. There won't be enough rain to significantly impact the entire incident, but it will give us a chance to make some headway in certain parts of our major incidents across the province.
Like it's very emotional. It's very emotional to know that your family and your friends and your community are in this condition. And I'm sorry, but I blame it on the inefficiency of
ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਦੀ ਕੈਂਸਿੰਗਟਨ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੱਲੀਆਂ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਕਾਰਨ 2 ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਮਾਰੇ ਗਏ ਜਦਕਿ 2 ਹਸਪਤਾਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਤੇ ਮੌਤ ਦੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਲੜ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ। ਇਹ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ। ਮੌਕੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ 4 ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਲੱਗਣ ਕਾਰਨ ਜ਼ਖਮੀ ਹਾਲਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਲੇ। ਇਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ 2 ਵਿਅਕਤੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਸਿਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੋਲੀ ਲੱਗੀ ਸੀ।
It just sucks. Like, I feel horrible for the people involved.
Our officers arrived on scene and located 4 gunshot victims. It's too early for me to address if this was an isolated targeted incident, but having said that, that's something our homicide investigators will be looking into. It is definitely very concerning, and we take every single shooting incident very seriously. And as I mentioned, we have deployed all our available resources to ensure public safety. That is our primary focus.
New Ho King is like the place where you used to go after like a night out in Kensington. So you're kind of like, oh, I used to eat there. I've been out there at 5 a.m. So it's kind of, you can like picture yourself easily, or you can picture your friends, which is like what makes it more like jarring.
The police require assistance from community members. We need your help, and it's a partnership. Any type of information, no matter how big or how small that you might think it might be, please contact police with that information.
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਅਤੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੀ ਸਰਹੱਦ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੀ ਖਬਰ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਈ ਹੈ। 1 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਵੱਧ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੋਂ ਬੰਦ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਅਤੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੀ ਸਰਹੱਦ ਹੁਣ ਮੁਕੰਮਲ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਵੈਕਸੀਨੇਟ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਵਾਸੀਆਂ ਲਈ ਖੁੱਲ੍ਹਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਸਰਹੱਦ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਖੋਲ੍ਹੀ ਜਾਵੇਗੀ। ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਰਹੱਦ ਕਦੋਂ ਖੋਲ੍ਹੀ ਜਾਵੇਗੀ ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੁਝ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ।
I think it's about time for things to get reopened again.
Deemed to be fully vaccinated, and also understand it has to be one of the Health Canada approved vaccines.
Typically 25% of the tourists come from the US and they represent 50% of the revenue.
I'm hoping so. Fingers crossed, you know, that's all we can hope for.
They're considered our locals that come all the time, so not having them for over a year has been dramatic.
Everybody in the whole place was crying, actually. It was kind of the most remarkable moment of coming back joyously, celebrating together. We love those visitors. So seeing them start to come back, vaccinated people crossing the borders, makes sense to us.
Cases keep spiking, and just like driving up numbers of people who aren't vaccinated, who are just going to push our cases up, is just going to delay our inevitable return to normal, which we're probably never going to get to.
There's been weddings missed, funerals missed. I think that'll be the first thing, families.
They have a couple friends who I know they have family on the other side of the border, and it's been tough for them because like I haven't been able to see their family in like a year and a half.
Many weekends. I can't even count how many weekends. My husband had to have the biggest tent, you know, just stressful, not being able to be together. This park has really been a godsend for us.
It's very frustrating. I hope this pandemic gets over soon, and I hope people get vaccinated, and that way we can get back to a normal routine.
Without the tourism, we've been dying a slow death here, to be honest. It feels like somebody is breathing new life into this business, and we are so excited to welcome them back.
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਕੋਰੋਨਾ ਵਾਇਰਸ ਦੀ ਚੌਥੀ ਲਹਿਰ ਦਾ ਖਤਰਾ ਮੰਡਰਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੀ ਮੁੱਖ ਜਨ ਸਿਹਤ ਅਧਿਕਾਰੀ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਗਰਮੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਅਖੀਰ ਤੱਕ ਕੋਵਿਡ-19 ਦੀ ਚੌਥੀ ਲਹਿਰ ਆ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਇਹ ਅਨੁਮਾਨ ਲਗਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਛੋਟੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਵਿਤ ਕਰੇਗੀ।
So just random bruising showing up all over her arms, her chest, her neck, her shoulders, her face.
It's an evolving topic, and we're still really trying to drill down on quantifying exactly what is the risk of long COVID and what symptoms do children manifest. We do still see some children, uncommonly or infrequently, who do become severely unwell, sometimes during the acute illness, but almost even sometimes more commonly afterwards when they develop this inflammatory syndrome called multisystem inflammatory syndrome of children, which can result in more critical illness.
We spent 3 days in the ICU, a couple days on the other unit. He's still being followed by cardiology, infectious disease.
It's a little difficult to say if the increased number of children that we're seeing being admitted with complications of COVID is due to something about Delta intrinsically, or is it due simply to the fact that Delta is such a contagious virus that we're now seeing more cases.